Good morning, Hoppers. This is your bonus video for those of you who are trying to finish drafting because you don't have a story ready to publish next week. So for you, I'd like to have you draft a scene where you put setting details in there. You're going to learn how to weave setting and dialogue and action together while you draft for the first time today. So let's hop right in. We are going back to the writing or drafting stage in the writing process. I still want you to think about whether or not your characters are in the dark, so we don't want it to feel like the power has gone out. Okay? We don't want you to have dialogue without setting, because that feels like words are coming out of nowhere, like your characters are shouting at each other inside a cave. Okay? We don't want to have action without setting, because that feels like characters are just floating in space. Your characters are on Earth. They need to be grounded in the setting. I really hope you see that to really ground your character and shine a light on things, you have to weave action, dialogue, and setting descriptions together. You can almost think of it as you're braiding hair, and you grab a strand of action and a strand of setting and you weave them together, and then you grab up your dialogue and you weave that together too. Oh, I just noticed I spelled dialogue incorrectly. Let me fix that. That's still wrong. There we go. Let's take another look at an example from Fireflies. First, I'm going to just read through this, and then I'm going to read through it again, and I'm going to highlight all the action, and then I'm going to highlight all of the dialogue, and I'm going to highlight all of the setting description, and you can see how the author is doing all three and taking turns, so each sentence is a different one of those three things, and when you get them all going and you weave it together, it really paints a good picture. The sky was darker now. My ears rang with crickets, and my eyes stung from staring too long. I blinked hard as I watched them. Fireflies, blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above our heads, making white patterns in the dark. We ran like crazy, barefoot in the grass. Catch them, we cried, grasping at the lights. Okay, I'm going to start with some action. I'll make it blue. I'm seeing some action right here, staring too long, blinking hard as I watched them. The fireflies are blinking on, blinking off, dipping low, soaring high above our heads, making white patterns. Okay, that's something that the fireflies are doing. They are running like crazy. They are grasping at the lights. Okay, those are the actions in this scene. I'm going to make the dialogue green. There isn't a whole lot of characters talking to each other, but by the time we get to the dialogue, it definitely doesn't feel like the characters are shouting at each other in a cave, does it? Because we know where they are. Okay, now for the important one. I'm going to make my setting descriptions yellow. Okay, the sky was darker now. That's the time. That's setting. The ears ringing with crickets, is that a setting description? Well, it could be, because you're explaining what your characters are hearing, but it's because of where they are. So I'm going to highlight it yellow. Okay, my eyes sting from staring too long. That is a feeling the character has, and that is not necessarily setting. So I'm just not going to highlight that. That's just some sensory description. Okay, sensory description is oftentimes related to the setting when it's something that you see. In this case, eyes, not quite seeing because the eyes are stinging. Okay. In the dark, that is definitely setting description. We can really see that it's nighttime now. Okay. Barefoot in the grass, that is a wonderful setting description. In the grass, we know where they are. Okay. The lights are also a setting description, and hopefully you can see how the author has taken bits and pieces of all three: action, dialogue, and setting, to really paint a picture in your mind of where this character is and what she's doing or he is doing, and giving you a good mood for the story. Okay. This is an empty story mountain. I don't want you to get distracted by it. I couldn't find my story mountain, but I know right now that I am writing a scene right here where I show that Shar has decided she wants to get her training wheels off her bike. I'm going to show you how I weave action and dialogue and setting together to create that scene. And since I'm drafting for the very first time right now, and I don't already have something to revise and look at, I really wanted to imagine the scene first in my head. Okay, so I closed my eyes and I imagined, first of all, what would my characters say? And this is what I came up with. This is, by the way, the wrong the wrong title, so we can just ignore that. Here's what my characters say. Hi, Shar. Oh, hi, Daddy. Can you help me? Sure. What do you need? Can you take my training wheels off my bike? So I started with my dialogue, okay? I already have some mistakes that I need to fix, though. So hopefully you can see how this drafting process that you do today can turn into a revising thing, too, because after you've got your first few ideas down, you might notice, oh, I've got characters shouting at each other in a cave. They are in the dark, and I need to shine a light on things.